Pasha Paroh, YN7. Thank you for tuning. Got Gisele with us today. Gisele, say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Pasha.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate your time today for added value for the community. Got a great topic we're going to go over. Pain and recovery is the title for this one. How pain is love, right? What what does that, the pain and recovery part is going to be like, okay, we heard that before. But how does the question how pain is love affect you?
Well, it's like getting through to the other side. When you're in the pain and in the recovery process, things are very, very challenging and difficult, to say the least. And you can't see in front of you, let alone in the back of you, because everything is a very dark place. And especially when your um, your pain is chronic and that is your life, because you're just living. You're a living pain. Going you're not going forward. You're kind of stuck in this whole process. So you want to be able to get to the other side so that you can truly find a way to love yourself again. And that is also part of a process. So when I'm working with a client, I tailor the program directly to what their specific needs are, and um, with their goals in mind as to what they choose to accomplish through the process that is their recovery. And once we get to the other side, you can find that you will be loving yourself more through this, because as you grow and progress through that pain and you get to the other side of things, in the sense that, as per my example, I suffered 11 years on and off of migraines. And the longest one I had was a 2-month long process where I just wanted to die every day. So I can identify with that darkness. But now, 25 years later, I'm living proof that you can find love and be in your heart center every single day of your life, and be able to shine that and help others achieve the same wonderful place in life that you are living yourself.
That's that's awesome. I appreciate that high level overview. Let's take a look at what the etymology of the word pain is, right?
Hmm.
So we have pain, punishment, and penalty,
Hmm.
right? And then
Yes.
recovery, to recover is get back something that was lost. So that's the dynamics we're dealing with today.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with both those definitions, because we are recovering something that was lost, or, as the spirit says, it was kind of just forgotten, right? So when
Right.
we forget something, that word forgetting is pretty powerful in itself.
Yes. I like the fact that the etymology reference there.
Hmm.
So for the people that don't know, expand on the forgetting as you split it like that.
Hmm. Forgetting means to get something. Exactly.
So so with that, forgetting meaning to get something, right? One of the things that um, causes people pain is rejection. And
Yes.
rejection, if we look at it as a punishment, because there's two sides to every coin, right? And there's always the infinity. So that leads people down to the road of feeling inadequacy,
Hmm.
social exclusion. They lose their self worth.
Hmm.
Doubt comes into play, right?
Yes.
So talk about talk about the pain and rejection for us.
Well, Rejection in my line of work is also a form of um, not being empowering ourselves, not owning our own self. So, having said that, it's similar to, you know, you're you might get a something in your nose, for example, a sinus infection or a cold, and that is part of not of rejection, of rejecting ourselves. But
Mm,
when it comes to other people rejecting us, what comes to mind for me is abandonment. We're all in this humanity going to have an issue of with abandonment, whether we like to think so or not. It could be a very minute incident, or it could be a large incident. And rejection is a huge factor in how we feel about ourselves. And because it can bring about depression, it can bring about stress, anxiety, all of those things are all tied into that one word, rejection. And it can impact our health in a very, very profound way that we create. In my case, I created a pain to mask another pain, which was, in a sense, rejection as well. That was a deep, profound truth that I did through my journey to the other side and of recovery. And as I'm sure that a lot of the audience, a lot of us right now in the last 4 years have been going through a lot of rejection in so many different ways, with what's been going on globally. And it's very hard when you don't have the tools to be able to get to the other side. And sometimes having a guide is a really nice thing. And I'm here to share with everyone that if you're looking for a guide, I would be honored and privileged to work with you.
awesome. Yeah, that's the key. Guidance is the key uh, for a lot of stuff. And when you're looking at
Hmm.
the rejection aspect, we're going to need to guide ourselves back to positive self image and the
Yes.
ability to form meaningful connections. And,
Hmm.
I like to always be the infinity is the natural devil's advocate, right?
Mm.
So, what happens is there's a positive side to rejection too, because it serves as a catalyst for personal growth, and it
Absolutely.
forces you to go inside and explore self-discovery on a level that's maybe you weren't comfortable with prior to rejection, right? So
Oh, dear me, yes, absolutely, absolutely. That speaks volumes to what I went through. So yes, thank you for that because there's always that flip side, right? There's always two sides to every coin. And there is a silver lining in each big puffy cloud because sometimes a real challenging event can propel you to an amazing, amazing life that you have no idea until you get there is right there for you. And I know for myself that if you had told me this 26 years ago, I would have said to you, "Are you kidding me? I'm living like a vampire. I'm in constant pain. I just want to die every day. Don't even try to tell me that this is going to be a better place because I can't see beyond that, right? And a lot of
Mhm.
people can't see beyond their pain right now. But Pasha, you've been through your pain. We know through experience, and that's what I help educate my clients with. It's your experience. And every experience has a lesson to teach us about ourselves and how strong and powerful we are as human beings. And we forget those things because when you're in the pain and in that small self, all you want is relief and release. You just want to be able to get to the other side of things so that you can have a life to enjoy.
Right, the other side, and that's sometimes on the other side waiting for you is the inclusivity, the empathy and understanding, the support networks, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about failure, because there's a punishment of failure as well that
Hmm.
can attract or manifest feelings of disappointment. Then you become your own worst critic. You start to not want to take risk, right? Your
Hmm.
self-esteem is getting crushed. You're losing motivation, and that may keep you away from new opportunities. So, what's your perspective on the fear of failure,
Well, first of
pain of
all,
failure?
yeah, pain and failure and the word fear, um, it's the acronym of fear is a really important one that I had recently forgotten that was brought back into my life, is it's all about, and I'm losing my train of thought. Forgive me,
Acronym
everyone.
of fear. The acronym of fear.
Yes, oh, geez, I've lost it again. It'll come back to me.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's just false evidence appearing real. That is the word fear.
Hmm.
So when we lose that and leave it aside, you know, we can be more heart centered and more in a peaceful um, solution for ourselves, a peaceful realm, if you will, just a more peaceful centeredness. It doesn't mean that there can't be chaos on the outside, but if you can hold your peace within and everything is chaotic on the outside, you'll get to the other side faster. This is my personal experience of what I had to go through. And you know, failure, God knows, I fail every day at something. And something that came to me through my guides. I have a team in spirit that I work with that are absolutely beautiful beings of light, and um, they came to me one time and they said, "You cannot fail to succeed." And for me, that was profound because that's a pretty deep thought. You cannot fail to succeed. And I thought, oh, gee, this is really interesting. And then when I finally went, aha, the little light bulb went on, Pasha, and I really got it because it took me a minute or two to really hear what they were saying. And it
Right.
was like, absolutely. So it basically translate, don't ever give up, even
Mhm.
if you're near the end. And sometimes, we want to give up. It's so easy to give up because we're very much conditioned to thinking that we can't do anything on our own. It has to be outside of ourselves. But I've learned over the years that most of the answers are always within us to find if we just make our own personal connection with creator and our guides, whatever you want to call it. It is the chosen path um, that will lead you to where you really need to go.
Very
And
true.
yeah.
Very true. And the failure, I was talking with um, Danielle,
Hmm.
and we were talking about how pain is like the equivalent of credit card rewards programs to the body,
Oh, big
right?
time.
Because it gives you that, like, that GPS sense of where you're supposed to go, where you're supposed to not go, and stuff, etc. So failure is like a powerful teacher.
Indeed.
How many of us have learned from a mistake,
Hopefully, all of us.
right? Right. And
Absolutely.
and failure also helps develop a growth mindset,
Yes,
makes us more innovative, and actually builds the courage to tackle endeavors that we might not have been strong enough prior to that failure.
absolutely.
And
100.
I liked your when you say succeed, you can never not succeed. It reminds me of the sharing that I give about the word success, because the etymology of the word success means simply result. So no matter
Mhm.
what you do, you're successful, because no matter what you do, you're gonna have a result. The question is it the result that you were looking for? We were looking for. right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes even better.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes it's not, but you know,
No.
what we wanted at all, but that could be actually the good thing that's preventing us from maybe something we didn't see coming. Like the punishment of loss often leads to grief, emotional pain, and a sense of emptiness, right?
Yes.
There may be a good side to loss as well. So
Yes,
what it
because
yeah. So, despair, isolation, profound impact, mental health, well-being, all that good stuff. Give us a elaborate on loss for us.
well, loss can be a variety of things. Loss can be someone that passed away that you're never going to see again physically in this world, but that they're always with you, just a thought away. Or it could be a loss of a job, of income, of things in your life.
Mm,
Um, it could be a number of things, but loss can also be part of survival mode, which is part of our energy centers. We have seven energy centers, our chakras. And when we're living only in survival mode, our chakra, our root chakra, which grounds us to our planet's energy field,
mhm.
is can get blocked. And then we don't have that wherewithal to get out or unstuck from that specific spot. So we have to learn how to navigate the energy of life to get us to from the loss to the success that we see and visualize in our mind's eye, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, gratitude, you know?
Absolutely.
Gratitude. Like if you lose a person, is it a loss or is it something to celebrate? If you lose that job, the natural thought is income starvation, right? Or wage
Yes.
starvation at the moment.
Hmm.
But is it freeing you from the toxic workplace and post traumatic stress disorders that maybe you didn't realize you were experiencing that was causing you health problems that now you feel better strangely later on, shortly?
Exactly.
You know? So it could lead to a greater appreciation for life. You
Absolutely.
lose somebody, it makes you appreciate the relationships that endure.
Hmm.
Kind of gives you that sense of what truly matters in life when you lose something.
It certainly does.
Because if you lost it and you didn't feel like it was a loss, well, now you realize that that wasn't the most important thing to you,
Hmm.
right? But maybe you've been obsessing over it for years and now you're free from that, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
recovering your what? What are you recovering in that overcoming that loss?
Mhm.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
So now let's look at betrayal, right? Because
Mhm.
betrayal is the punishment, leads to distrust, right? I
Mhm.
say it a lot. I got trust issues,
Yes.
not in the sense of just things that aren't necessarily true, like
Mhm.
fit the equation. I just label all of that stuff as a trust issue. So you
Mhm.
got emotional turmoil with some people, a sense you got
Yes.
damaged relationships,
Absolutely.
loss of faith in others and even themselves sometimes. So it's
Yeah.
it's challenges in rebuilding trust. Tell us about betrayal.
Well, betrayal can come in many different forms. We can even betray ourselves by not honoring our own boundaries, for example. So, like, we have to really take stock and take ownership for all of our own emotions, everything we create in life. Once we take ownership for all of those things and all of our feelings, that's a beginning towards being able to recover and get through all of these emotions to the other side, because these emotions that we're talking about with Pasha this evening are the building, not a building block, but it can be construed as a building block to getting to the other side. In order to
Mm.
feel these things, you have to really be feeling them. Once you have the tools and are able to work through that betrayal, you get to the point where you can look at the positive affirmation of that is by being grateful. Okay, thank you for showing me this betrayal. I'm not going to repeat this anymore, whatever, however it came in your life. And if you repeat it, it's because you haven't learned something from that betrayal, however difficult it may seem at the time. And once, because betrayal is a very, very deep emotion that is felt on so many levels, and it can really break a person and break your heart. Not literally, but it can really break your heart in the sense that it's like, okay, it'll break your spirit, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay down and never pick yourself up again. Um, that I don't believe in anymore. I truly don't think that anyone, however rock bottom you've got, that you can't pick yourself up and get back on the wheel of life, because I almost died of a medical overdose of medication. And if I can pick myself up from there and work myself to where I am today, I know in my heart that anybody can do this. Anybody in their right mind that has the the push, you know, or the pull, if you will. We can all get through anything in life because we are that powerful. And yes, sometimes we need help, but sometimes we can do it on our own too, with the right people in our entourage to help us get to the other side of things.
I like that. Pick yourself up. I like the references that you're using for the other side, with with the word recovery being to get back what was lost.
Hmm.
Elaborate on that from the other side reference. I feel like it's almost like a tarot reading there, where it's like the other side, and then it's like you're regaining what you lost. But the interesting part is, in order to have to go back to the other side to regain it, we had
Mm,
to slip somehow. We had to fall, and
yes.
and the connection that I'm making is, if you look at it from a vertical, right, the other
Yep.
side would be up or down, right, as above, so
Yes.
below. So we had to
Absolutely.
fall down and then to pick ourselves back up again.
Absolutely.
Elaborate on that for us, please.
It's absolutely true. Like, we do have to pick ourselves up. I mean, no one can do for us unless we are willing to do it for ourselves. So, oftentimes, I think what was very difficult for me as a practitioner is that many people in my immediate life, for example, my parents and my family, for example, I would see them. They're not. Something would happen to them, and they're sick, and it's like I really want to help them. I really
Mm.
want to be there for them to help pick them up, bring them back to themselves. They knew what I went through and everything, but it doesn't mean that they wanted my help. They weren't ready for it. And oftentimes, our own family doesn't want to work with us because it's just the way it is. And that's also part of our growing pains as a human being. We need to accept that not everybody is going to be ready for our help. And I think that that's, in its sense, most people need to hit rock bottom before, that aha moment. So when you hit rock bottom, either you have two choices. You either stay there, wither and die, not technically, but some people do, or dust yourself off, pick yourself up, and say, no, I don't want to live this way. I can do this. I may need help. I will find a way. And That's that little tiny inner voice that sometimes in the silence that you will hear, that's there if you just willing to listen to it. So, yes, you can go from rock bottom, pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You're going to see how strong you really are at the other side when you do hit the other side of things. And when
Hmm.
I say the other side, it can mean anything you want it to be. But for me, it means having the freedom from pain ever hitting my life again. I have been pain free, and that is my goal for everybody in that wants to work with me. And believe me, it is the most amazing feeling that there is, because then you have the freedom to do whatever your life wants you to do.
Freedom is a powerful commodity. And when you said the family reference, of course, it
Hmm.
made me throw this photo up here for us.
Yeah.
And the thing about, I think what people would benefit from with the family reference is a lot of people don't really realize where that rejection in your goals and dreams comes from family members and people that are close to
Mhm.
you. It's
Yes.
often pain related because
Yes.
they've done they've attempted things in their life, they
Hmm.
failed, and maybe they didn't handle the pain from that failure properly, or they had goals and then they had betrayals along the way, and maybe they
Hmm.
didn't handle that pain properly, right? They got rejection along the way and didn't handle the pain properly. So when you come to them with your happy idea, I'm gonna be great, I'm gonna be the right. They're doing. It
Yep.
seems like they're negative because they're doing and saying all the wrong things for you, right?
Hmm.
Because they're trying to, in their mind, in most cases, for better or for worse,
Hmm.
protect you from the pain
Hmm.
that they're projecting from their own past experiences. Share about that with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, Pasha, that's really true. You know, uh, our families do the best that they can with the knowledge that they have at the time that they're trying to help their children. They're doing the best they can. And as we grow through our experiences, we're able to become better versions of ourselves, and then we're able to learn from those experiences and not repeat them, as we spoke of previously. And I think that that is a huge component to helping us recover from many things in our lives. Is as we experience, we gather hopefully some tools in our toolbox, in our arsenal, to help us navigate the times that we're living in. And by going through these things, it will um, enable us, I think, to learn more about who we really are and what we're capable of each and every single day.
The self discovery, the reinvention, the innovation, the isolation, which there you go. It comes back full circle. I guess I like to see the connections of everything. And as we're talking about this, it's a spider web because just that little stream of we can use this one example. The family members had their
Mhm,
pain, their rejection, they didn't deal with it. You come to them with your idea, they give you the pain and everything. They tell you no, which causes you pain, right?
mhm,
Now it drives a wedge between you and them, maybe in between you and your goals. And this freedom aspect. Well, what are you free? You're free to do what at that moment, right? You're free to pursue your goals. You're free to pursue your family. Your choice determines the intensity of your pain, right? Because we're talking punishment here. We're talking penalties.
mhm,
So if you don't go after your dreams, you don't go after your goals, right? You're penalized because now it's like that saying about the graveyard is the richest place in the world because that's where all the ideas that never got fulfilled lay to rest too, right? So
very
you have remorse, if you don't try, right?
Mhm.
And then if you go with your family's decision or your best friends or your significant other, your spouse, and they tell you not to do it, now you have regret.
Mhm.
So love is Proto-Germanic lubo, a different grade.
Mhm.
So pain is simply love and success then, right?
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. I would concur.
So if you say it's exact opposite, that means for explanation purposes that we're talking about positions within the same frequency range,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Like even though you have the head side of the coin and the tail side, the complete opposite, it's still part of the coin.
Absolutely. There has to be a balance. Just like nature, everything has a balance, a yin and a yang, right? Or up and down. It's always in balance. Right now, things are off kilter in in many respects, but that's for another chat at some other time. But yeah, it's very important that we keep balance in our
Mhm.
lives. And when you have more of one thing than another, then something needs to bring the status quo back to its original balance in whatever it is that is affecting us and whatever it is that's showing itself to us as well.
That may mean we need to detox. We need to
Mm,
purge. So isolation often leads to feelings of loneliness for some people, disconnection,
mhm.
and lack of social support. Now, us Virgos, we live in hermit mode. We appreciate the incubation, the isolation, right? So, but for those who aren't prepared for it, it can lead
Mhm.
to increased vulnerability, and mental health challenges and a sense of alienation.
Yes.
So there's a gift and a curse there of isolation because if you look at it from an osmosis standpoint, when you're in the wrong environment, you're absorbing all the wrong nutrients, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you have to remove yourself from the environment or let's say to remove yourself from the environment is
Mhm.
equally as important as n- feeding yourself the right nourishment. Because if you're feeding yourself the right nourishment, but you're still in the wrong environment, absorbing all of the wrong nourishment,
Mhm.
there's a balance factor coming into play again, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So talk to us about the isolation aspect of pain.
Well, it's very difficult when you're in pain to be around. Uh, it depends on the pain, of course, but if you're a chronic pain sufferer, it's very difficult to put yourself into a situation where you have to go and socialize because if you're depending where your pain is, that's and you're in chronic pain, that's your life. So it's very difficult to go out with that pain and have fun, right? And laugh. I mean, most people end up isolating themselves. They have no choice because of that, of what they're living. So, but oftentimes there's a toxic element. You were talking about detox. Um, you know, in let's say you're in a workplace where it's very negative energies and people are very negative, all they talk and they complain all day, there's nothing, no laughter, no joy left
Mhm.
in that environment. That is a very energetically toxic environment. And oftentimes, and with some of my clients, we've determined these things, that if you're in a toxic environment such as that, as an example, and you've been there 20 years and you're soaking that in, you might have created at an energetic level that pain, and it comes out in your physical aspect. And if you don't have the tools for it and you're not aware of how to heal those unseen influences and negative energies from your body to detox them, it's not an easy task. It just adds two things. So that's one part of it anyway,
Mhm.
to detox from a really really toxic environment. There can be toxic people too. There's a lot of people that we are around daily that are very negative, and they're not very loving or kind or compassionate. That also plays a role on our auric field. That's our energy field that surrounds us. It plays a role in your health and well-being. And I talk about that in some of my tools for life. For example, is that you can't always stay in a friendship or relationship, even if it's your family, if they're very toxic and it's making you sad, depressed, anxious. Sometimes we really have to take stock of those relationships and see if they're not healthy. Sometimes we the hardest thing to do is to walk away, but it's the healthiest as well.
You know that sharing parallels the artwork. If you look at the toxic workplace or the toxic individual or the toxic relationship, whether it's a family member or a spouse, a significant other,
Hmm.
um, it's like this volcano. You
Yes.
know, you want to get close to it. It's amazingly beautiful and it's extremely dangerous. And if
Hmm.
you get too close to it, you could be trapped during an eruption. Now, even if you're far from it, like in this photo here, when it erupts, you're still bombarded by falling debris, brimstone and fire, you know, the
For
smoke.
sure.
So the smoke, the stuff, the gases and stuff, right? All very
Uh,
toxic and harmful.
Absolutely.
So the question is, you know, if you lose this environment, is it a loss? If you're rejected from this environment, is that not joy? If you become isolated from the volcanoes in your life, have you found peace?
That is a good question. And a lot of people, 99.9% of everyone's truth is their own perception of it. So, how you look at the world that is in front of you is how you're going to perceive it. So, if you're looking through the lens of negativity, you're not going to perceive it as joy, right? More than likely, you'll perceive it as loss. And someone else who is looking at it through the lenses of positivity or love will see the joy out of it. So it's just
Joy.
all about perception.
Right. That's in itself is a lost art, I think. I
Mm-hmm.
think perception can become a punishment. It
Mm-hmm.
the etymology of the word attitude is position, right?
Exactly.
So that attitude in that photo here, let's just put it back up here. So
Mm-hmm.
the attitude of the photo here,
Mm-hmm.
they would be like, oh, this person, if the volcanoes from the volcano's perspective, the person is being distant. Oh, they don't fuck with me like that. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But the volcano isn't flexible to move around and find a mirror and say, oh shit, this is what I look like.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's part of healing is the
Mhm.
attitude. And that's what
Yes.
allows you to see, is it really a loss?
Mhm.
Is it a betrayal? Is
Exactly.
betrayal a bad thing?
Exactly. It's how you perceive it to be. And one of the tools I work with my clients is I call it the mirror image. Is that when you look at yourself through someone else's eyes, what is reflected back at you?
Hmm.
And that's a question I ask during during my work with them. It's like, okay, what do you see? What is that individual trying to show you about yourself? And a lot of times what people are showing us is because they're pushing our buttons, right? It's like we're and and people are reacting to that. But when you're in your heart and you're in your neutral zone, so to speak, you look at life in a different perspective because you're being able to be the outsider looking into your own life and say, hey, I don't need to react to this anymore. It just is. And
I
that's
like. Go ahead, and that brings.
no, that was it.
Okay, because I like. It makes me want to go back to this image here. Let me pull it back up here.
Hmm.
I'm bouncing all over the place here. So when you were saying that, it's like that the saying of poking the bear. Now let's flip this coin on this image, because that's the thing I like about infinity. In order to be true,
Hmm.
you must consider the infinity. So now, right, when it's you that's wilding out, right? Or when it's us, when it's me, when it's the people, and then the other people are looking at us like, oh, there's something wrong with them. This, that, and they didn't realize that they went and through they were poking the bear.
Yes.
Or did you ever see that reel or that clip, short video? And it was like the kids went up to the volcano. It had been dormant for however long, and they threw like a good sized rock boulder, semi boulder, down into the caldera, and it broke through,
No,
and
I
then it
didn't
started
see
like
that. But I can imagine it. I can imagine it.
they went up there, they threw it down, and it went and it broke through, and then all of a sudden it started crumbling, and you saw the lava like underneath the surface down of the
Oh.
like the solidified part started boiling, and it literally started erupting after that. So now they're calling you the bad guy or the bad
Mhm.
woman, the wrong person, because you are the volcano now,
Yeah.
but they're playing the victim either
Yes. Big time.
negligently or intentionally,
Yeah.
because they provoked it, right? In
Yes.
that case.
Absolutely. And that brings us right back to that toxic relationship example again. Like everything, like I say to every my clients when I start working with them, I ask them one question, and it's, what do you what your life starts with you and it ends with you. It's a big circle. And what do you have if you don't have you? It's pretty simple, right? And
Right.
when you look at that from that standpoint, if you don't have you and treat yourself first, you can't do anything for anyone else. So if you're not healthy, how can you be helping someone else with their health? If you're not loving towards yourself, how can you love someone else? So it all starts with us. Everything in our lives is about us. And yes, you may have children that you want to, you put your children first. But what you got to remember is if you're not healthy, you can't help your children be healthy either. So you have to give yourself the time that you need so that you can provide for them and give them all of the time that they deserve with you.
Right. And okay, so that's a great example, because here we go with the whole cycle of all of these pain points again. Matter of fact,
Mhm.
that's the good thing. These are pain points, right? Because
Yes.
now I remember I was talking with Trish, and we just brought up Steve Jobs, right, with
Oh,
Apple.
yes. Love him.
And the point she was making was, from her perspective, it was like, oh, how sad he never got to spend the time with
Mhm.
his children and family that he wanted to, and by the time he started, it was too late, right?
Mhm.
Kind of one of those stories that make great
Yes.
blockbuster movies, right? And
Yes.
my perspective of it was no, no, that's not it. See, his life purpose to
Mhm.
him was Apple
Mhm.
since the garage, since the
Mhm.
first, screw. You know what I mean?
I
And
do.
so the rejection of not completing the build and the growth, and when he got rejected from the company, that was pain to him. Not when he
Mhm.
didn't, you know, the collateral damage was I don't get to see my family.
Yeah.
The failure wasn't gonna be for him if I'm not in my child's life. The failure was gonna be if we don't get to Apple iPhone 27, right? the loss, the loss for him wouldn't be divorce.
No.
It would be if Apple went under.
Mhm. Mhm.
The betrayal wasn't whatever his family was doing behind his back. It was how did y'all get me out of the company that I built?
Mm.
His
Yeah.
isolation was every moment that he was separated from the company, from his
Mhm.
from his product, his dream.
Yeah.
And when you look at it like that, nah, he didn't experience the excuse me, the emotional attachments that maybe a good part of society would assume should be
Mhm.
there, right?
Yeah.
Speak on that. We talk to a lot of business owners daily. Give them a little nourishment and encouragement there because they're
Um,
going through those same pain points, right? On their own levels.
well, we're all going through growing pains as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and we just have to keep going forward in the knowledge that that we're building the dream foundation for us and our families, and that people will gather together in unity and keep going forward. This is what I keep receiving from my team, like my guides. They keep saying just keep doing what you're doing, and because love at the end of the day is the only way forward. Love is the ultimate. It's the only positive emotion that is the for me, love is the ultimate. Love is all there is. That's the only thing I can say about it. It's all there is.
Yep. So so when we think we're doing great and when we're connected with our goals and dreams, um obviously, right? When we're connected with them, obviously, most of us feel joy, right?
Absolutely.
So pain is that different grade because it keeps us true. It keeps us true.
It's a very good reminder.
Closing remarks, Giselle?
You know, just love yourselves, everyone, and I know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we can navigate these times. We are strong enough together as a unit. We are stronger together always. And we can all find our path to healing through unity consciousness.
And then finding for those who want to connect and find their path with unity consciousness, I've intermittently displayed your website. Your website is at the bottom of the screen here, an email address.
Mhm.
Let the people know because we're not just we're having a casual conversation. I want them to understand your expertise and how you can add value to them, especially with the society current state the way it is today.
Mhm. Well, I just want people to know that they're not alone. They don't have to go at it alone anymore. I had to do it alone. Through the pain, I had to find a solution that worked for me. And it is a drug free approach to healing with all the tools all the fundamentals, everything. I work with you, mind, body, and soul. I treat you as a whole individual, not just a body with symptoms. I'm here from A to Z until you don't need me anymore. And I want you to know that I would be honored to work with you. You just have to have an open mind, an open heart, and a really the intent that you want to heal, because it is possible. Anything in life is possible if you just have the belief that you can do it, and you can. And I'm here to tell you that you can, and that I'm here for you every step of the way.
Awesome. And if we're going to heal the community, Y97, shift from transactional leadership to transformative on our journey to sustainable communities, in order to heal the community, we have to start with you. I'm Pasha
Yeah.
Paroh, Y97. Gisele, say bye to the people.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for stopping by and listening.
Thank you for tuning.